gentlemen, all my dear friends. Very good morning all of you. Today I am here to present my video presentation. Our presentation topic is women political participation. Under this topic, we would like to discuss about what is women political participation, why is women's political participation important, universal franchise and women, why it is difficult for Sri Lankan women to enter politics, and how to increase women's political participation. So first of all, we will move on what is women's political participation part. Women's political participation refers to women's ability to participate equally with men at all levels and in all aspects of political life and decision making. Women's participation and access to formal political power structure vary across countries. There is a steady upward trend in women's political participation and representation in developed countries, particularly in Nordic countries. Out of 12 countries where women participation in parliament is more than 33%, 9 of them are ranked in the high human development category. However, the improvements in medium and low human development countries are not significant. The structural and functional constraints faced by women are shaped by social and political relations in a society. The common pattern of women's political exclusion stems from social and discourse, political structure and institutions, the socio-cultural and functional constraints that put limits on women's individual and collective agency. Women's political participation refers to the active involvement of women in the political process, including activities such as voting, running for office, participating in political campaigns, advocacy, and engaging in policy-making decisions. It encompasses the rights and ability of women to influence and shape political outcomes at local, national, and international levels. Despite significant progress in many parts of the world, women's political participation often face barriers, including gender discrimination, cultural norms, lack of support, and access to resources. Increasing women's participation in politics is crucial for ensuring gender equality, diversifying leadership, and addressing issues that disproportionately affect women. So, what about political participation in Sri Lanka? Women's political participation in Sri Lanka has made significant strides over the years, but challenges remain. The country has a relatively strong legal framework promoting gender equality, but cultural, social, and institutional barriers still impact women's full participation in politics. So next, we discuss about what are the key aspects of women's political participation in Sri Lanka. First one is voting rights. Sri Lankan women gained the right to vote in 1931, making it one of the early South Asian countries to grant universal suffrage. This right has allowed women to participate in national elections as voters. Second key aspect is representation in elected office. Sri Lanka has seen notable achievement in women's political representation. Sri Lanka made history by electing its first female president, Srimawa Bandaranaike, in 1960. She became the world's first female head of the government. Later, her daughter Chandrika Kumaratunga also became president in 1994. Then, Sri Lankan Parliament has seen an increasing number of women MPs. Though their numbers remain actively low participated to men. In the 2020 parliamentary election, 12 women were elected to the parliament, making a slight increase. At the same time, women have also participated in local government elections, though the numbers have often been disproportionately low compared to men. However, some legislative reforms have been made to encourage greater female participation. Third key aspect is quotas and legal frameworks. In an effort to promote gender equality in political representation, Sri Lanka introduced a mandatory 25% quota for women at local government election in 2018, ensuring more women's participation at the grassroots level. In the 2017 local government election, women's representation showed a significant increase due to the introduction of the gender quota, which allowed political parties to nominate women to fill seats in local councils. Up to now, we discussed about what is women's political participation, what is about women's political participation in Sri Lanka, and key aspects of women's political participation in Sri Lanka, etc. So I think you get a small idea about women's political participation. So in here, I stop my discussion. Next, I would like to invite my friend Ramesha to discuss about importance of women's political participation. So, thank you.
In this part, I will discuss about the uh, importance of women political participation. So, when discussing about women's political participation, it's a fundamental condition for gender equality and genuine democracy. So it facilitates women's direct engagement in public decision making, and it's a means of ensuring better accountability to women. So other thing is, the most of studies show higher numbers of women in parliament. They are generally contribute to stronger attention to uh, women's issues. They always talking about women issues, and they represent the woman in the parliament. So it's a importance one. And other thing is, political accountability to women begins with increasing the number of women in decision making positions, but it cannot stop there. Um, what is required are gender sensitive governance reforms that will make all elected officials more effective at promoting gender equality in public policy and ensuring their implementation. So um, so other other special thing is, uh, without taking women needs and also their interest into account, and opportunity for them to participate and participate in and influence decision making, development, investigations, and planning, uh, sustainable as well as meaningful results will not come. And to attain a strong local government empowerment of women is inevitable. So when discussing about other importance, we can emphasize that in a democracy, it is important that every part of the population is equally represented. uh, Having both men and women involved in decision making broadens the perspectives, increases creativity and innovation, and diversifies the pool of talent and competences, reduce conflicts, and improves the process of decision making. So that's the important thing. And other thing is, women bring distinct equalities that significantly enhance organizational success. They approach leadership with heightened capacity for empathy, connection and building and inclusiveness according to inclusiveness. So, according to years of research, female executives, uh, these traits emphasize the contribution they make as leaders. So, these are the things we can get as importance of the women's political participation. So,
In this part, I will discuss about the women voting rights. That's mean universal franchise, also known as universal suffrage, is the principle that all adult citizens of a state have the right to vote, regardless of a gender, race, wealth, or social status. The inclusion of women in universal franchise has been a significant milestone in the history of democratic movements worldwide. Historically, voting rights were limited to property owning men. Women were excluded on grounds of traditional gender roles, lack of capability, and patriarchy. The struggle for women's suffrage began in earnest in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Activities like Activists like Emmeline Pankhurst in the UK and Susan B. Anthony in the US led movements demanding equal voting rights. Voting rights are a cornerstone of political empowerment, enabling women to influence policies affecting their lives. And also, inclusion ensures diverse perspectives in governance, promoting policies on health, education, and gender equality. Other significant fact is equality that universal franchise enshrines the principle of equality, challenging discriminatory practices. While universal suffrage is legally recognized worldwide, practical barriers such as voter suppression, violence against women in politics, and underrepresentation in decision making bodies persist. In conclusion, universal franchise when inclusive of women not only strengthens democracy but also fosters equitable and sustainable development.
Thank you so much, friend. Now we move to the next part of our presentation. So this is very important topic. Now I am going to present about why is it difficult for Sri Lankan women to enter politics. Sri Lanka has taken some positive steps to address significant gaps in women electoral representation and achieve greater gender equality. One such step is the introduction of a quota at the local government level and a new electoral system with a quota at the provincial level. However, women in Sri Lanka continue to face serious barriers to political representation, and the country ranks among the lowest in the world for the percentage of women in national legislature. For example, the most recent parliamentary election in 2020 resulted in just over 5% of elected women representative in parliament. What are the key barriers faced by women when contesting for political activities in Sri Lanka? Those are cultural and social norms, economic barriers, political and institutional barriers, violence and harassment, and also the media representation. Under the social and cultural norms, women are facing lots of barriers to enter politics. The first thing is general stereotypes. In many societies, politics is traditionally seen as a male dominated field. Cultural norms often dictate that women's role should be focused on family and domestic duties rather than public leadership. So the next barrier is the economic barrier. Here, women are facing lack of financial resources. Running for political office typically requires financial resources for campaigning, publicity, and outreach. Women often face difficulties in accessing these resources. They may lack personal wealth or connection to wealthy donors, who can fund their combines, leading to underrepresentation on politics. Now we move to the next topic, which means what are the political and institutional barriers facing by women to enter parliament. First one is political party structure. Many political parties have structures that are still dominated by men, making it harder for women to rise through the ranks. Parties often overlook the importance of gender equality in their candidate selection process. In some cases, women are given symbolic roles without real decision making power. The women often lack the mentorship or political networks that men typically have. These informal networks play a crucial role in advancing political careers, and without them, women may struggle to find support or advice in navigating the political system. Then next, the media representation. They are facing gender bias. Women in politics are often portrayed in a biased manner by the media. Media may focus more on their appearance or personal life rather than their policies or political views. This lack of serious representation can undermine women's credibility and discourage their participation in politics. Women in politics are often subjected to negative stereotypes, such as being too emotional, not thought enough for leadership. These stereotypes can impact public perception and contribute to the shy of women to enter the political sector. So, these are the main serious difficulties for Sri Lankan women to enter politics. Now I think you are understanding what are the difficulties for Sri Lankan women to enter politics. So now I am stopped my presentation here and I would like to call Joanny to continue our presentation. Thank you.
Now let's see how can we increase the political participation of women. Well, Sri Lankan political parties should not just confine to 25% quota. And that 25% quota should not be confined to nepotism. So to elect more women into our national legislative body, we need options of women where we can select. So it's not just covering the 25% of quota. We need women who are good enough to be an option of us. And the heavily masculinized political culture is another reason why women are so reluctant to be a part of political activities. And if we look at the Sri Lankan political appearance of a politician, usually it's a person who yells, screams, shouts and threatens, which made women to think that to get the identification of a politician, you have to be a masculine figure. So it is important that we give opportunities for women to change this very masculine political culture. And further, most women are very reluctant to be a part of politics because they don't want their internal family affairs being a part or being a topic of their political activities. Recently, we have seen some women getting hammered in political activities by them being not married or them being divorced or them being infertile, which are totally irrelevant for politics. Well, it is true that we can be proud as Sri Lankans that we have the world's first Prime Minister, Sirimao Bandaranaike. But we can't forget that she comes from a political background where her husband has been the president. And once again, Chandrika Kumaratunga, she became a president because obviously both of her parents has been presidents. And there's a question, can a woman who come from a middle class family, can a woman who come from a low caste family be a president, be a prime minister in Sri Lanka? But recently, we have seen some progressive actions that has been taken by the political party, which is NPP. They have been working hard to elect and nominate female choices that are educated and experienced, which gives us an opportunity to select women who are actually well deserved to be a politician. Also, we have a prime minister who's a female at present political scenario, which is a great victory. And she doesn't come from a political family, which is another victory. And she is not somebody who comes from internal nepotism. So basically, this has showing us that we have improved up to a certain level when it comes to female political participation. But does that mean that we have won everything? No, we just have 20 female parliamentarians. But if we look at New Zealand Parliament, the 53rd Parliament in 2022, they have managed to cover 50% of women in the Parliament, which means they have 60 members who are female and 60 members who are males in New Zealand Parliament. And when it comes to New Zealand Parliament, the representation of these women are also very diverse. They have refugees, they have native Maori women, and they have Asia Pacific women. But when it comes to Sri Lankan political representation, we have observed it quite a long time that most of the female politicians come from the majority groups of races. So it is important that women who come from different problems, different backgrounds, who represent different religions, who represent different races, ethnicities, are also included. So just including women is not enough. We need to include women from different diverse groups. So I think at the end, it once again goes back as a responsibility of citizens and political parties to give these women, amazing women, the opportunity to compete in their elections. But if we look at the history, we can see that most of the major political parties are very reluctant to give women the nominations. And most of the women who have been participated in politics are the representatives of individual parties. They have not attained the nominations from the major political parties. So here I'm going to end the presentation